honest, though.
All right, well, it's time for me to go cast North America. I'm done with this guy. All right, guys, let's figure out the battleground that we're going to. For this match here, Fnatic has banned out Battlefield of Eternity. We also have Cursed Hollow banned out for the day. Tomb of Spider Queen will be our first battleground. We already finished it up. Brax's Holdout was battleground number 2. And our third choice, Dragonshire, picked up by Expert. I think at this point, they're staying away from the first pick here, as Sky Temple is one of the best battlegrounds that Fnatic has. So them taking away the battleground gives them the power here to at least hold some of the cards.
Yeah, definitely. And they, Team Expert could fall back onto the Nazebo Zul shenanigans that we've seen from them. You don't want to see it. I think it could have success with repetition, but I would agree. I think something a bit more stable and standard.
Okay, so here's the mean trick coming out for a second. I like the idea of strong early game Zul.
Yeah.
You just hold on, you push yourself to level 20, and then Nazebo comes online, and you have this powerful combo. I just feel like the late game shot calling for Expert just isn't working for them with that pickup. I understand the theory behind it, and I love the idea. Just too many times I feel like Expert gets a decent lead, and they get to late game, they run out of steam, and they just run into Molten Swings on a Ragnaros and such, and they just get completely wiped, which I feel like is just not a strength for them to run for that composition and go for the late game. I feel like they do much better when they're dictating the pace in the early mid game.
So you feel that they should commit their entire resource pool to phases as opposed to draft for part of a phase for the half of the composition and then part of the phase for the next composition?
It gets better compositions, or better teams, yes, against Fnatic and Dignitas, because Dignitas and Fnatic have been fantastic whenever they're behind. They just know how to wait and find that key moment to win. It's always happened every single time that we've watched them ever be on the back foot. And Expert, I just feel like their shot calling in the late game does not match that in any way. And I feel like I'm being mean. I'm sorry, Expert, please. But for real, seriously, I don't like it at all. I watched it yesterday, and I understand the theory and the concept behind it. It just does not work out for them.
It definitely didn't yesterday, sadly, for them. So I would like to see, maybe some different iteration on it, somewhere about.
Totally.
Maybe one of the components mixed with something else to actually find success in that. But yeah, so in Dragonshire, there is that potential. Johanna still becomes like a warrior threat that could come into play on between bottom and mid, which is always nice. I'm curious about the solo lane though, because actually we saw in that previous game just then, Wubby dominated his solo lane against Blade on the Ragnaros.
Yeah, and it can be an even matchup. If you miss the first couple of Drain Hopes, Ragnaros can do well, but apparently Leoric was not missing and was destroying that lane.
Wubby's really good at it, man.
Yeah, insanely good. So we'll have to see how this will shape up, because that top lane is important here on Dragonshire, as Claris did allude to. Here comes our ban phase. Tacet are banned out. Over to Expert. Do they continue the trend of banning out ETC?
Probably, I would say. I'm trying to think of anything else that has given them problems here in the past couple of games. I don't think that they would focus on a Chromie now. There was a problem in the past game, but it's not something that they would think about. Leoric could even be a ban. If they're not thinking about taking it themselves, because there was trouble in that top lane. It was a difficult time.
Yeah.
So they absolutely don't want to be losing that again. They could kind of supplement a top lane with something like a global of their own down the line. Maybe a Dahaka.
Oh, gosh. I feel like you still ban out the ETC. Breeze is just a powerhouse.
Yeah,
on that hero, especially when he's so good right now.
I have to agree. If it's gone through many times, we've seen it first picked for them. Not as much against, like, say for example, B Genius, Fnatic. They took it in the first game, and they're going to ban out a global here. So depowering the Quack.
So Fnatic's been going for Malfurion first in the last couple of series, but ETC has been banned out. Do they go for their staple?
I would like to see ETC here for them.
I think I agree.
Breeze is just legendary on it at this point.
And the other part, too, is Bad Bunny's pretty darn good at ETC, too. He's just as devastating. Probably not as good as Breeze on the hero, but just keeping Bad Bunny off of it is a solid choice.
I mean, if you weren't tuning in, like, the last time Fnatic played, to kind of reiterate how good Breeze is on ETC, the Korean teams were banning it against Fnatic. That's how much respect that teams like Ballistics had, the world champions, mind you, had for Fnatic. But Dahaka's going to come in first, so that's a really strong top laner to start them off. And it comes back to exactly what we were saying before. Just, you know, great solid control of that lane will put you in good stead here on Dragonshire.
So that gives them the global pressure they would normally have with Ballset, but also gives them a solid tank. Does Expert go for ETC into Malfurion? Or are they looking to be a bit different here? With Malfurion, they can still make Zul work. We've seen a lot of Zul from them here on Dragonshire, so we do have to consider if they go for ETC into Malfurion, suddenly their damage becomes a bit lighter, and they're going to have a very strong assassin in their later picks. So, Expert weighing the options right now.
ETC Malf?
I think that's what I go for.
The issue is that with their with Team Expert's Falstad ban, they kind of pigeonholed themselves a little bit because now they don't have a global to reinforce against a Dahaka at potential top.
Okay, so they want their Zul. There's Zul, and there's Ragnaros.
They love it.
Dahaka ETC together is pretty devastating too. So Fnatic has that option available to them. So yes, it is apparent that Expert loves the tools that Zul brings to Dragonshire, the multiple rotations, their early game advantage. Can they end it this time? We will see. Over to Fnatic. ETC I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't mind Dahaka and ETC together. I don't feel like they ruin each other. In fact, I feel like they're even better. You get your power slide into the easy setups on the tongues. You have the mosh pits with the drag from Dahaka to follow up. You just have a CC train that's pretty much set up for you. Just need to make sure you have some damage available to you.
You know what I'd love? I would love to see them take Medivh right now against the not only just kind of take it off Team Expert. I know it's not exactly like the most amazing map for him, but Shrimpy on that would really throw like Expert for a loop, I think. And then you've got that force of will against things like Ragnaros, Sulfura Smash, but they're going to go Jaina, Malfurion, so they're basically saying you have to now ban the Zeratul, I suppose.
Will Expert bite? Will they ban said Zeratul? There is some theories that if you get a pretty heavy, robust line with Ragnaros, a couple of tanks, you have your Zul set up with your Bone Armor, you might be able to handle the combo coming your way. And this would be the chance that Expert would go that route. I do think Zeratul puts enough pressure with ganking to slow down the top lane in particular to where you kind of mitigate the Zul rotations. So I could see a ban here, and with the Jaina being on the mix-up, I can't agree with that, but let's see what Expert will go for. Yeah,
the funny thing about that is if they are looking to bait out that ban, Dahaka is normally played by Wubby, but also Zeratul is also normally played by Wubby. So it's a bit weird, and they're still going to ban out ETC. I think that's cool, but they could have just picked it themselves.
True. Zeratul's also good on the side of Expert, being able to get the Void Prison into Sophia Smash.
I guess that means they want to focus on wave clear. So if they do end up like going for a tank with a bit more wave clear, Team Expert, they've already got Zul, they've got Ragnaros. That's massive wave clear. That's their top lane already sorted and solidified. I don't know if Meridian's the right ban. I mean, we'll see as it comes along.
How is Bad Bunny to Johanna? Because suddenly, if there is no Meridian on the table, because we've seen ETC, we've seen the Meridian from Bad Bunny, we've seen decent play on Varian, but if you start to go down those routes and get rid of those heroes,
I don't think we've seen it on him, seen him on it much, if ever.
Because I think he's really good on mobile tanks, because he always gets into a scenario where he actually gets in trouble, but he's able to escape. But if he's stuck on a Johanna and he overextends too much, that could spell disaster for Expert. So the Meridian ban could make sense here for Fnatic, and I like their thought process here, just because we haven't seen what Bad Bunny will move into.
Surely at this point, Tyrael is going to have to come into play for one of these teams. Normally, I would say Fnatic would go with it, with Dahaka being played by Wubby and Breeze playing Tyrael. But if then Expert now said, we would like Tyrael, then Fnatic would be in a slightly odder spot for their warriors.
It would be odd for me, too, to see Expert run double warrior. I feel like they run double support way more often if they want to go the route of a double pickup. So suddenly, if you go Tyrael, is it going to be a solo Tyrael, which you and I are not becoming a fan of here in Europe?
No, not so much. Not so much. The thing is that Medivh's technically on the board, but it really depends on how they're going to like craft their composition, because we've seen ADRD on the Ragnaroses before. When it comes to something like... there's been mix-ups. There's been different people like switching around on things. We've seen Ragnaros being played by Blade. We've seen it being played by ADRD. Nazebo, okay then.
They're just on this Nazebo train. All right, well, Nazebo into Rhaegar, Ragnaros, and Zul, so they are going for it. And I, for one, hope that it works out for them. But now, Fnatic on this side, they could go Jaina, Zeratul, Diablo.
Yeah, they could. They could go Zeratul and Diablo, and then I just want to like forfeit the game right there. That's God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I look at this draft and I just feel like, all right, well, now we have this trio of explosions that can be wonderful, especially with a team that has so much synergy like Fnatic that we've seen in the past.
Again, my only slight issue is that there is that crossover between normally it will be Wubby on Hacker and Wubby on Zeratul if it's like, you can't play 2 heroes at the same time, so who's going to play the Zeratul if it was to come along? But it might just be too tempting. They might just do it and just like throw somebody else on the second warrior.
They need their wave clear. They have their Jaina, they have the Dahaka.
Might be the Tyrael, as we were mentioning, still though.
Sanctification, such good. Great material.
Great material. It feels like the more, because this works out better, because you know, again, you can't have Wubby playing 2 heroes. That's silly. So just get yourself your Tyrael for Breeze. Get yourself your Greymane for probably Quacknix with Shrimpy on the Jaina? Question mark. Yeah, it's probably the more likely go-to here. And then they've got like a really good comfort picks instead of trying to say, oh, look, there's a great opportunity for a wombo combo, but all of our composition or our players aren't quite as well versed on 1 or 2 of the heroes that they're on.
That's true. Well, over to Expert, they need their warrior. Diablo could be the pickup for Bad Bunny. I think Diablo makes more sense than Varian here. The only problem is that you don't have as much of an easy escape, so the healer will have to be on point. Rager will have to show up with his totem pole. But I think Varian doesn't have... You pick Varian to get insane setup, right? And the only setup I see here is Self-Fear Smash or engage into...
Are you ready for the Anubarak? Maybe?
Yeah, it is a Anubarak, but solo Anubarak?
It's weird. Oh,
Yeah,
Diablo. Okay.
Okay.
I like this. Better.
All right, so Diablo, probably the wisest choice left of the Warriors left. Varian into Spiders isn't the best setup in the world for you.
No.
Main late game, it can be insane, but can they get to late game? That's what they have Zul here for. So, again, we're going to be having the new composition that Expert seems to be going to often. The Zul early game, carry you through, get to late game, get Zebo set up on stacks, and just hope to hold on. Will it work out for them? That's my question.
I mean,
I'm doubtful.
We theorized at the very beginning, before we even got into the draft, Zul Zebo would come along. It's presented itself once again. I truly don't know if it's going to work against what Fnatic is presenting here. Tyrael Greymane's looked good for them before. They've got a Jaina to follow up any kind of damage from the back as well. I think they're going to have a hard time getting on towards Jaina to deal with her.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And the thing is, too, is Malfurion has tools to deal with the poke that comes from Zebo. Because when you're playing a Zebo, there isn't a moment where you're attacking, you get spiders on someone, and you're like, all right, let's run them down, right? Yep. There's still always this moment of you're kiting backwards, kiting forward, and you're trying to get these pokes on these siege minions, and that's the most of the damage here from Nazebo. Unless Ragnaros hits a Sophia Smash, which wasn't happening the last couple of matches. And Malfurion, if those attacks are actually happening for Nazebo, he just goes tranquility. And he's like, all right, well, I just heal everything here. And then we run you down, especially with the Greymane and Tyrael. So I just feel like they're putting way too much stock into Zebo, but I'm ready to see Expert wow me. I'm a fan of different heroes, obviously. KO's a fan of Zebo. He plays in the same one from North America, and if I can have more Nazebo in my life, I'm down. I'm happy with it. I just don't see it working.
I mean, to be honest, Nazebo has a 100% win rate currently in this series, Trixler. Never mind a 2% core.
Okay.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, facts are facts. I don't know how to fight that. Except for, you know, the biggest curse being in the HGC here. That guy.
I'm apparently better than the witch doctor himself, Nazebo, at cursing things.
You should be in this game.
Yeah.
I would buy a Claire's hero and a Claire's announcement pack.
There already is a Kyle Harris skin for Nazebo. It's called Ginger Dread Nazebo.
That's the perfect one. Game 3, guys. We are tied here 1-1. Fnatic and Team Expert facing off. We'll see how it works out on Dragonshire.
You know, there's a great art in self-deprecation and just abusing yourself, and I feel like I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, if you love yourself well enough, you might as well, right? Just go on in. You have to have that confidence, you know?
Yeah.
To the right, here is Team Expert showing off their, I guess, patented Zul early game into Nazebo late game. Nick will be showing off said Nazebo. Smexy over here to the far left. Here's Fnatic.
Yes, there is, with Breeze going to be rocking out on that Tyrael. Love to see it. And Quacknix on his old fabled Grey main. Finally, Shrimpy going to be on that Jaina. We will have Wooby on the Dahaka. And it was Smexy on the Malfurion. Of course it was. Playing the Staghelm Malfurion skin. Loving it.
Loving it, loving the aggression that is occurring here as the bushes are being destroyed by Breeze. He even smites him as well. The Weed Whacker showing up as Expert will hold back using that gazebo.
Do you reckon Eldarune would be a good Weed Whacker? You think you can cut down some weeds with that?
It's a legendary sword. He better be able to cut grass or I'm returning it. That's all I'm saying.
the blunt Eldarune's might. It's like, that actually just didn't cut through that bush.
That didn't happen. You can have that back. Can't be Imperious now.
Returning it.
Greymane is getting some attention though in the top right as Ragnarok was taking some damage. Good damage from our Greymane player. Quacknix getting ADRD to half health, which will give Wubby the chance to have a stronger top lane. Oh, the Dragaroni! Quacknix going in. Does he go to human form and go to the Guilding? No, he does not, but ADRD forced to retreat here.
If the body block had been really on point, I think that could have been a kill. The one thing that is a little bit difficult to do against Ragnaros, and you'll only know it if you've gone up against Ragnaros a lot, is that when he uses Blast Wave, he actually moves very quickly, so it's actually quite difficult to body block him when he's using Blast Wave.
Yeah.
So you do have to be cautious.
Be aware of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So Fnatic has made an adjustment here based on the comp that Expert has. Normally, with a Zul and a Zebo being in the middle and the bottom lane, they're going to dominate those two lanes. Putting Dahaka and Greymane in the top lane and putting so much pressure that Ragnaros has to stay there has forced their wave to be won by Dahaka, which means they can go for an early dragon. Quacknix starts to get the channel, the root comes out, and he will actually get a dragon here at 1 minute and 40 seconds. Granted, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's still a play on dominance here against the Zul pressure early game that Quacknix and his team is showing up.
Absolutely. What that really signifies to me is the Expert is a little bit on tilt. Not necessarily like majorly, but just slight discrepancies that they need to fix in that mid to bottom lane rotation, because they're supposed to be dominant there with Azul early on, but they were not dominant.
Well, they get dominant naturally around the early level, so it's so brilliant for Fnatic pushing that top lane and give Ragnaros no room to hold his lane here. Now, they are dealing with the dragon well, but this slows down all the pressure that Zul brings into the field here. In fact, we have Fnatic ahead in experience against a Zul comp. Most would say that was impossible, and I love the aggression, the slight adjustment from them to deal with the new composition that Expert just wants to run all the time.
And Malfurion went the safe way from bottom to mid to actually soak up that wave. So, I mean, they're really on point with how they're rotating from lane to lane against this composition. They know that Malfurion can't just go through the middle from bottom to mid, as there's always that threat of Azul locking him down and then him being deleted.
Gosh, I love these rotations right now. What do you do after you get experience leading against Zul? You keep it going. You keep up the momentum. They grab their giants on the left, and they have them for the pickings if they ever see their opponents go for it. Expert does start to rotate between the middle and the bottom lane, and Breeze is just here to grab it if they ever see them overstep. Nick and his team will grab their own giants, but they'll be able to match it with the giants they grab on the left side. Nice play here from Fnatic, just setting themselves up for success to get to level 10.
All right, so Breeze just gonna launch himself towards that. They were delaying the capture of this so that they could just have a bit more favor about the location of where they could take on their opponent's giants towards the bottom. As the fight towards the top, actually.
Greymane is constantly putting pressure on this Ragnaros. And the more I think about it, Greymane definitely outputs more damage than the Q that comes from ADRD or Ragnaros, especially if you have your Dahaka there. So you can really start to take that lane and just kind of own it there. Finally, Expert, though, does make their own play, and they rotate 4 members to the top here on their rotation to grab the turrets. But good news for Fnatic fans in the bottom, they're putting pressure on the forts down here already as they are losing their towers with the aid of these giants, which means later on in the mid game when the next giants spawn, they'll become even more important for Expert to take away, or Fnatic can start running away. Nice engage though from Shrimpy on bad bit engaging. There goes the counter attack though. Zul focuses down. There is a Blizzard as well. Breeze going for a chase, but Shrimpy will survive. Great teamwork.
It's got to the point where Fnatic just kind of like feels in the pace, feels in the mood. Yeah. They've ran, you know, half of a marathon, and now they've kind of got over that wall that they've had to endure in a couple of these games, and they're really looking on pace. So it's nice to see that they're just having these great little rotations, good counter engages, and interesting build out of Zul coming on. Weaken at level 7.
attack speed slow from 48% to 75%. Obviously picked here to go against Greymane, but
yes.
will it be enough with the Gunite Cocktail being the major damage from Greymane, and then go for the Throat not being affected by that? That shouldn't be too hurtful against Greymane, but I like the idea. The idea is, all right, well, if we ever have a Worgen in our back line, at least I can stop him from going too aggressive.
So this is a Zul saying, I don't need as much push power in the early stages of the game, but I absolutely need the team fight. So it feels like slight adjustments from game to game with this Zul Nazeebo comp to then make him stronger in the later stages of the game when team fight becomes more potent, right?
Yeah, it's actually a good heads-up play by them. Another good heads-up play here by Expert, though, is that they realize that the Dragon has been grabbed by their opponent, and they rotate the Ragnaros all the way down to deal with it using the Molten Force to get to level 10, just stopping this Dragon from being too effective. About to hit level 10 here. Blade leading the charge. Fnatic looking for a disengage, though. And all at the same time, Wubby in the top lane is just pushing in, getting more experience, but also applying pressure to this fort. The rotations have been pretty on point for both teams, more so for Fnatic, especially in the early game.
Yeah, the Dahaka has gotten value. I'm wondering if there's... So I wanted in the previous game on Braxis Holdout, looking at it, I still want the Dahaka over the Arthas in the previous game. And now there's Dahaka for Fnatic against no Global for Team Expert, which seems to be kind of winning out things here for Fnatic. I wonder if the Falstad ban for Expert was really the correct go-to. I mean, considering how much they love Nazeebo and Zul, they were probably never going to play it anyway. But I think that they do need either more commitment to the soaking rotations or actually having a global available. And interesting to know, it was Water Elementals.
Water Elementals picked up.
What do you think about the concept, though, behind the globals and the soak, etc.?
No, yeah, I think I can agree with you. The thing is, if they didn't ban Falstad, you run the threat of Fnatic taking both, as they've shown in the past, having Dahaka and Falstad on their first couple slots, so they just get even more global pressure. So I think I agree with you that it would have been nice to have Falstad on their side, but I don't think Expert is that team that's going to go that route.
Right, yeah.
They want to have their big group up comps, they want to have their experience leads.
And it comes back to non-standard comps.
Yep.
Which is something that is an interesting topic here for Team Expert, both in a positive light and also potentially in a negative light, as we can, kind of...
double-edged sword, man. It
yeah.
can cut you just as hard as you can cut.
Just as Eldraune can cut down weeds.
Just as Eldraune can cut down weeds. That's right. Bringing it back here. 12 to 11 for our team. Shrines will be activating. Fnatic is grabbing some mercenary camps on the top left. The Water Elemental, I'm still thinking about that for the pickup. It's actually pretty strong against Diablo in particular, as if he goes in for the engage, you drop the Water Elemental, and he just cannot retreat. However, Bad Biddy is a fan of this Lightning Breath.
Yes, he is. He got some good value out of it against Dignitas on Infernal Shrines. But then there was counters, and that we all know how that game would have ended in the end. I think they could have got even more out of it. But the third Dragon Knight going over to Team Fnatic.
They're just a few seconds ahead of Expert, constantly.
Yeah.
Which has been enough to get them dragons. What, the third dragon you were mentioning here?
Yep.
They go straight into the fort. Molten Fort still not for a slight amount of time here, but they should be able to get the defense at least on the keep.
Right.
Bad Benny looking for the engage, but with Greymane and a Tyrael, when Diablo goes for the Lightning Breath, if Tyrael dives in, the Sanctification comes out, Greymane can dive on him and actually chew through him fast enough.
It comes to exactly the same dynamic we saw against Dignitas, where they have to bait out the Sanctification first before they're going to use this, although never mind. Tyrael was in the Dragon Knight. That was the perfect time to use the Lightning Breath because the Dragon Knight is still so healthy. There's no way he's going to get out of it. Sanctification so much.
And Jaina just gets burned there. Fire does beat Ice. Ice block here, though, for Malfurion, and he will die to fire as well as he's rooted down. Smexy in trouble. Breeze trying to help out the defense, but in the back right, Wubby is facing off against the Nazeebo. Ice block popped for Nick.
What a brilliant counter engage by Expert, considering that they were so eager to get the Dragon Knight forwards. And now you look at that and I think to myself, all right, in the future, Fnatic probably needs Dahaka in that Dragon Knight compared to Tyrael, because Sanctification is going to be such a playmaker compared to the isolation that we see coming in.
I won't even mind Jaina at this point, because Jaina hasn't gone burst comp, so she can now be in the Dragon here and use the Auto later, but the counter engage, Wubby grabs the Zul, and there will be the follow-up from Quacknix on his Greymane. Nice kill from them, and they continue their pressure.
Yeah. The one thing that I like, I don't mind the Jaina in as well.
Yeah.
I think that works out fine. The one thing that gives me good posture for Dahaka is just the fact that he can get there quicker.
Agreed.
Of course, over everything, but that's just a given.
I think we're both on the same idea that keep Tyrael out of it.
Yeah, just
Have your sanctification.
have your sanct.
That's all you need here, and Fnatic should make that adaptation here as they continue
Definitely.
throughout the match. So in terms of it all being done, we had a couple kills back and forth. A fort was taken down on the bottom, and we got some damage in the middle fort, but for the most part, Expert's still in a good spot, moving towards 15 and 16, but so is Fnatic. They just need to clean up the rotations a bit more, or be willing to commit to one side of the map instead of trying to spread out, because Fnatic is stretching them thin.
Yeah. They really are, and you know, with that thin spread, Fnatic is just getting the better end of it. They're just getting that experience so better. If I want to actually look at the numbers of what Dahaka's done in terms of experience, so compared to everybody else. So he's at 11,000 compared to the next closest on his team, which is at 7,000. So he's making up for a very good chunk of that lead that we're seeing here for Fnatic. I mean, of course he is. He's a global presence.
Yeah.
He has that ability, but of course, getting those numbers is very, very nice to have.
Yeah, if Dahaka isn't leading the experience, you definitely have to have a war with him after the game. 15 to 15, but Fnatic is so close to 16 right now, and good news for them. The Shrines are activating. In the next 6 seconds, they will be available for our teams. Both will be grabbing the Mercenary Camps to have pressure on the top lane. Expert should be able to have that, but Dahaka should clear it up. Tyrael already in the bottom, Dahaka in the top, and Fnatic advances on the Dragon Knight. Can they take it? Here goes Schwimpy straight into it. Jaina will become a dragon, not a Dreadlord, but gets to push down the middle lane.
Oh, you and your theories. But anyway, Shrimpy now going to move on through the middle and look to get stuff done, as I say. Now, we're going old school scary for Greymane. We've seen it a few times here in Europe, which is Executioner for that Greymane, so it's a lot of damage.
It's actually insane with Imposing Will.
Yes.
Absolutely destructive. When you have the Jaina as well, Executioner can just work wonders. So good pickup here for Fnatic, especially based on the comp that they have. Molten Core then pops in the middle. So the rotation in the top lane is a choice for Fnatic, and they will start sieging upon said fort.
Yep, could do some damage here. Just forcing out the Molten Core elsewhere, looking for damage in another location. EDRD is in the thick of things now, though, as he gave up his Molten Core towards mid lane. Zombie Wall's going to go down, not capturing anything at the moment. And doing okay in terms of the slowdown, but this fort should end up falling.
Yeah. I'll take the fort. It's playing slightly safe with Jaina being in that dragon. She is quite squishy. Her and her robe. And so Breeze not wanting to use Invocation, the dragon just pulled back. The continual push here, but with a 5-second duration left, should be able to pop out. He goes to the kick on Ragnaros. Are they gonna go for an engage? Oh, that would have been so clever if you use that last second kick and go in for a hard engage, but Expert being nearing a fort will wait it out for now.
All right, so yeah, of course with level 16 here, Team Expert has some power behind them. Now, still, they've got amplified damage on Zul as well, so anybody that gets caught by that, and then Sulfura Smash right onto them. That's what the cleanse is going to have to be for. Anything else just seems like a mute point. Ooh, hello Rhaegar, level 16, Hunger of the Wolf.
Ooh.
Nom nom nom. I didn't expect that one. So normally it is the Earthgrass Totem from Rhaegar because you just want that extra slow on someone, but it really feels like they want to follow up amplify damage from the Zul as much as possible, even if it means going really deep in and trying to just pop someone in that moment.
Yeah, and for the most part, there's no reason for them to go for the totem. There's not too much of a crazy chase that they have here available with Zul and Zebo. Granted, it would be slightly helpful for setting up spiders, but already, if the spiders do connect, they'll chase already. They'll be hitting the opposing team. So I like that, just getting a little more damage here to maybe start getting a few kills in, so their comp that does excel later on at level 20 with the Hellstorm and the Zebo's damage can be effective.
He has a bit more freedom in his talents as well, considering that at level 1 he went for the shield compared to the Colossal Totem. So Earthgrass Totem doesn't synergize as well with a normal, non-talented totem. Colossal Totem makes it like really cool, but that's by the by. As for now, just looking for an extra bit of bite.
And on 1.2, fully round can allow them to escape even with that Earthbind Totem. So things to worry about. Wubby with the instant escape. Once again, Brush Ducks to the bottom lane and will join his team surviving the gank from Expert.
All that living meteor did was kind of blaze the shrubbery a little bit. That wasn't very happy.
Grass is getting beat up in this match.
It really
for sure.
is.
Yeah.
We're weed whacking with Eldarin's might. We're burning shrubberies with Living Meteor. What else can we get done?
Poor plant life.
Yeah.
19 to 17, and it's kind of a weird spot because right now the best play for Fnatic is to either grab a dragon, but Expert should be playing aggressive right now to keep them on the back foot. So the next thing is to wait for level 20, but they are they're full level away from it. So soaking will take some time here. Should be a lot of delay tactics from both teams, particularly Wubby there on the Dahaka. However, he is missing experience in the top lane, which kind of hurts that overall goal of getting 20.
Yeah, Wubby. So he gets himself that up towards the top. And let's see where he's going to go. At least he has a wave coming along in just a moment. Team Expert still holding on. You know, they haven't lost a keep, so they're in okay spot. It's not too damning yet, but here comes Breeze. Maybe looking for a holy ground on towards ADRD. He gets stunned by Bad Benny. That was really important there to make sure ADRD didn't get caught in there.
Good play by Bad Benny. The root falling up as well, but having that bulwark available, he'll be able to sustain nicely there, especially with Person backing him up. Dahaka still in the top lane, moving towards 20 for his team. And Expert has to make a play now, but Fnatic's not giving him the chance.
It's really funny how these small things interact with one another, because you take that small scenario down there, if Ragnaros gets caught in, he either dies because he's caught in, or they force Ancestral Heal out for just the cost of a Holy Ground, just the cost of a cooldown on Eldarin's Might. So that was very important considering the flow of the game, because level 20's here, and they would absolutely need the Molten Core coming up against this Dragon Knight.
Gotta agree with you. 20 to 19, a Dragon pushing, Molten Core being available for ADRD. They should be able to hold this keep. The Holy Ground pops out as well to give room for Fnatic to wiggle slightly here. The punch, though, on ADRD, he'll be kicked away, and this allows Fnatic a chance to work on damage for this keep. ADRD now starts the Molten Core. Molten Swing comes out, will connect with Wubby. It's okay, he's a dragon, though. Constant poke.
So Quacknix has a lot of poke himself now, especially since he has Hunter's Blunderbuss at level 20. So all of those shots are going to be kind of cleaving behind that shot, if he's able to get in range, because right now, Ragnaros is saying, absolutely not, leader of the Gilneans, and you will move back as Wubby moving forwards with Breeze as well. They haven't used any of the heroics just yet, only the Water Elemental has been focused on.
Play has been called here. Go for the keep. Blue the drop. Wubby's there as well. Dahaka's going to help clear. At the same time, a 4 is being taken out from Expert from the Mercs they grabbed earlier, but 20's still not here for Expert. The Lightning Breath is used. Bad Benny will be forced to cancel it as Quacknix turns around, drops Q on him. Big heroics being used here from Team Expert. Can they even chase?
Yeah, Fnatic got what they needed to, and that is the keep. So level 20 is coming in now. They're going to definitely back off. Team Expert is very healthy here, and they have a great amount of sustain available to them. It was actually Bone Spear coming in for Zul. Bit more impactful than Mortal Wound against a composition with a Malfurion in Tranquility, because you would have to catch a lot with that scythe if you wanted to really negate the damage, the healing from that.
He certainly would. And call out the Schlimpy there. He saved his entire team there, but constantly hitting his Q on Bad Benny. That's the only way that Team Expert gets an engage. Like now, Smexy in trouble. He will bolt away. Saved for now. Breeze will be able to retreat at the same time. But yes, Diablo is the only way Team Expert gets the engages they want. So keeping Jaina on him, keeping him slow, is one of the best things you can do here. Schlimpy can constantly focusing him, not for the damage, but for that chill factor. Keep Diablo on the back foot. Dahaka at the same time is pushing the top lane, while Expert has to make a decision here.
Well, we're going to get this situation again where Kirsten was throwing his totem into the back bush, knowing that there's the potential that Dahaka could come in from the flank. So they want to stick around here and get damage done. They absolutely want keep, but I don't think Fnatic is going to let them go anywhere near that, with the potential of Dahaka just coming in from the back and just causing a huge flank and maybe killing people.
Yeah, those are two things that both teams are worrying about now. Dahaka's flank, and then there's also the ADRD. If we ever do have Fnatic chase, the Molten Core could pop out. Keep his low.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to mention. Good eye Trixler, because overall, going into this fight as Dahaka, Expert, just falls back and potentially gets Molten Core even on that fort location if they chase too far for them. So That's kind of crazy. They give up this fort. This is a very interesting decision.
Oh, but Schwimpy does get picked here. There goes the Hellstorm. Can they burn Jano? They do! Signification's been popped, but Expert has got a takedown. Now ADRD on the background here can start sieging away on the minions in the front. Gargantuan pop, and somehow, some way, they're going for the core. Wubby on the left side, trying to slow it down. The engage from Bad Benny. Smexy helping out the damage. Quackness is still alive. Those they can't fully engage on this fort.
Breeze. Oh, Breeze is going to end up getting popped. He tries to go through with Elder Rune's Might, trying to keep himself alive. He's going to end up going down, though. He's trying to do as much damage as possible. Ice block there from Nick, and that should be core here. They don't really have that much damage to stop this. They're looking down towards Greyman. He almost gets the eyes off. Yes, he will. Team Expert with the turnaround here against Fnatic. They go up 2-1 here in this best of 5.
And Expert convinces me of this composition. All they needed was a Diablo to get that pick, get that engagement. And with Schwimpy just barely out of range there, the engage onto her, and then the kill was super important for them. Congratulations to them here. They're going up 2-1.
I like the talent change-up as well on Zul. I think that level 7 really caused a lot of problems for Greymane when he was going deep and trying to put on pressure. That was a great little pickup.
Well done for them. Expert goes up 2-1 over Fnatic. Who would have thought? We'll be right back with game number 4.
I was told this suit would be my prison. Suits me just fine. Been called a lot of things. A renegade, an outlaw. Guilty as charged. Makes life exciting. You never know who or what will be on your side. So when the Nexus came calling, there was only one thing to say. Hell. It's about time.